Well, hi everybody. It's meteorologist Joe Chaffee, FiOS 1 News Long Island and FiOS 1 News New Jersey.
And meteorologist Joe Rayo, FiOS 1 News Lower Hudson Valley, on what, Joe, is the kind of day that those professional photographers, when they take picture postcards of Manhattan with the skyscrapers, they wait for a day like today with the deep blue sky and the big billowing puffy fair weather clouds. A picturesque day out there today.
This is the time of year where it happens all the time. You get a cold, especially if you're dealing with a situation where you're in a marine layer, like we were yesterday, and temperatures didn't get out of the 40s, and you wait for a cold front to come through. This is the time of year where it's actually warmer behind the cold front than it is ahead of it.
Right.
And we had temperatures today that were about 10 to 15 degrees higher than they were yesterday, depending on what time of day you compared it to.
Well, most areas in the Hudson Valley, yes, they peaked at around 11 o'clock in the morning at around 50, and then they dropped back into the 40s and stayed that way through much of last night. And then, as you pointed out, the cold front came on through, the atmosphere dried out, and today we've lifted the temperatures back up close to 60, which made it very, very nice.
Yeah. I just want to say a quick hello to Russ Fergala of Russ Fergala Landscaping on Long Island, to Ken McLaughlin joining us tonight, to John Catolo, Dennis Cassia, Kevin Bolger, and this will probably be a good time before we get into the weather, Joe, because this is something that comes up from time to time, and I want to let everybody know. I put a post up last night late about this. If you're not getting notifications that the Joe and Joe weather show is coming on, and you want to make sure you get those notifications, go to your Facebook, go to the my weather page, meteorologist Joe Chaffee, and make sure that you have two things checked off. First off, that your notifications are turned on, and make sure that the following button is checked as well. You can like a page and not necessarily follow it. You can follow a page and not necessarily like it, but the thing is, you got to have that following button checked off and the notification button checked off, and then you will get, you'll know when Joe and I are coming on. So just want to give you that heads up. Now we can start talking weather, and I want to show you something, because I don't know if you noticed this today. It's cooled off from where it was, but this major storm in the plains, this which is going to be a record-setting blizzard when it's all said and done, Joe. I was looking at the, well, first off, this is the snowfall forecast from late today, and all the numbers have been updated.
Right.
It's not often that you see this wide range of temperatures, of snowfall amounts of 20 inches plus. And even in the northern plains, you don't get snowstorms usually of this size.
Right.
But this one is a real powerhouse. But did I accidentally erase this? Oh, no, here it is. But I wanted to show you what's going on with temperatures, and unfortunately, it's actually not as dramatic as it was a couple of hours ago. But all these temperatures that you see through much of central and west Texas and down into South Texas were in the 90s, middle and upper 90s, and even 100-degree readings showing up there.
Wow. You
had the 80s. Going all the way up into Oklahoma and Arkansas. The numbers have come down considerably, but this is, this really shows what's going on. The wind barbs also, this large area that's getting, strong sustained winds of 20 to 30 miles an hour. And look at Kansas. Look at these temperatures in Kansas. In the eastern part of the state, in the upper 70s to around 80 right now. And then on the other side, where the winds have all gone to northwest, you've got your temperatures dropping down to the low 30s to near 30 in the northwest corners. Just very dramatic.
Unbelievable.
Very dramatic.
And you can see where the center of low pressure is. You can, if you move the map back up,
right there.
You can actually see right there the circular area just in the panhandle of Oklahoma. You see that.
Oh, yeah, right.
That's probably where the low pressure is centered right now.
It's right in here. Yeah, I was looking up here, too. It may still not have settled on one low, but this looks like where the main low is.
If you don't mind the analogy, a meteorological swizzle stick, if you will.
Well, you know what? Up on the cold side, it's in the low 20s in northeastern Colorado. 20s in northern Nebraska and through South Dakota.
Now, yesterday, we were talking about how Denver was what, 75 to 80 or
Right.
thereabouts?
And they are right now, Denver is 23.
Unbelievable.
It's amazing.
Unbelievable.
And that's, they're used to those dramatic swings. And they can be even worse and go down to near zero sometimes. The snow, by the way, get not quite to Chicago, Joe, but till Milwaukee, which is not that far away.
Right.
It's only about a 90-minute drive or
Right,
so.
we were talking about that. Where would be the line of snow? I said, oh, it's up toward probably north of Milwaukee, but it looks like it's right around the Milwaukee area. And by the way, whoever the schedule maker is for Major League Baseball, they really did the Minnesota Twins a favor by scheduling their game against the Mets at Citi Field here in New York,
Right.
as opposed to deciding to have their game played in Minnesota, which I don't think is going to be. I don't think they'll be able to play baseball in Minnesota for a while, considering what is about to happen in the Twin Cities.
And this is the second. Last year in April, Minneapolis had their all-time single storm record broken, and this storm is going to come pretty close. I think the one from last year, they left them 18 inches. This one's going to come close. But this is what it looks like on the surface right now. You've got one low in northern Kansas and another one down near the Panhandle. It's a 983 low. It's already deeper than what the models were analyzing, and this is just going to wrap up. And up to the north, you have this big cold high, Joe, sitting up in Hudson Bay that's just pushing down. It covers pretty much everywhere from Montana all the way into New England. We're sort of on the southern edge of this, and you get a wrapped up storm like this that far west. That's actually good for us because that the dry air just funnels down the east coast and keeps us protected.
I'm sorry, I'm still drinking some hot cocoa here.
Well, go right ahead. Is it spiked?
No, it's not.
Just checking.
But one of our
we run a family show here.
Absolutely. But one of our behind the scenes people, Tony, brought in some gigantic cookies. And
with the fake M&Ms on them.
And between the cookie and the chocolate here, I've been in my element for the last half hour or so.
Well, I got the satellite loop.
Okay.
This is. Look at how you have high clouds almost to us. I looped this back to earlier today, but you've got high clouds almost to us, and you've got the western edge of clouds back near Washington and Oregon. I mean, this thing just really, and tomorrow it's going to have that look to it. It's still organizing here.
Well, I said a little while ago with Mike Gilliam, our Lower Hudson Valley news anchor, I said, when you look skyward here tomorrow, because today we had the big puffy fair weather cumulus clouds. Tomorrow the sky is going to be just filled with high cirriform clouds, and I said that's the spillover of this monstrous storm that for the most part is out west of us, but thankfully we're going to be on the warm side, so we don't have to worry about the mayhem that they're seeing in terms of snow and frigid temperatures out over the plains and western Great Lakes.
All right, here's got the latest radar here. We'll take a look at what's going on. Yeah, that's the high clouds that are coming east. There's this arm of precip that goes all the way into Detroit and into northern Ohio. The main area is back in western Nebraska, South Dakota, western Nebraska, into Colorado, and up into northwestern Kansas. And these areas are getting mostly snow. There's not a whole lot, Joe, as far as the Gulf is kind of quiet. That's all dry air down across the Gulf states right now. So the severe weather risk is actually pretty close to the low center, and there are some thunderstorms popping up. And I wanted to just show you the risk for severe weather going forward. I think over the next 10 days, we're going to have a number of episodes here. This is the risk area for tomorrow, which swings east into the Ohio Valley, into Illinois and Indiana.
Now here we are tonight. We're talking about how the snow is in the vicinity of the Milwaukee area, and now tomorrow they have to be ready for a marginal risk of
severe weather. Exactly.
Weird.
And now on Friday, the system is going to be weakening, so there's not a whole lot here other than general thunderstorm activity. There's a new area of marginal risk that breaks out in Texas, and this is related to the storm system that's going to affect us later Sunday into Monday.
Right.
Day 4. Okay, this is day 4 on the Storm Prediction Center's map. They already have an enhanced area for severe weather in the lower Mississippi Valley there, over northern Louisiana into Mississippi. So this might be a a busy day. This is going to be, I think, a busy day for severe weather in the lower Mississippi Valley. And then you go to day 5, and it moves into the southeast, closer to the southeast.
Right.
But the point is that I think when we look at what's going on now, and when we look at what the weather's going to be like through the weekend, and especially next week, severe weather, I think, is going to come front and center. We're going to see a lot more activity than what we've seen in the last 10 days or so.
And it's highly unusual when you see the Storm Prediction Center actually go and stick their neck out as far as, let's say, 5 days ahead. That doesn't happen too often. But as I said yesterday, I speculated in the fact that this weekend, Sunday is Palm Sunday, which is an important day in the Christian calendar. There probably will be a very large number of people traveling that particular day, and so I guess they just want to get the word out early that the weekend, particularly Sunday, in the southeast, in Georgia, for example, is not going to be too nice, and they should have a heads up for the possibility of severe thunderstorms and the potential again of maybe some tornado and funnel cloud activity.
Right. So here's our storm in the plains again. A system that far west, you got this big high in the eastern half of Canada that's built down over the northeast, so we're protected. The only issue tomorrow, I think, is going to be that as the high kind of pivots a little bit, we're probably going to get into a bit of an ocean wind in the afternoon and evening.
Right.
And that's going to keep temperaters down somewhat.
Right.
I don't think there'll be a whole lot of clouds, really.
Winds
Some, but not a lot.
Winds will probably start off from the north or north-northeast, and then
go.
And then in the afternoon they'll swing around into the south.
Right.
So.
And then your storm, which really reaches its peak intensity tomorrow morning, when it's in southeastern Nebraska, starts to move toward the western Great Lakes. So by the time this front gets here Friday night and Saturday, we're going to get some showers, but I don't think it's going to be a whole lot. And then by Saturday morning, it's done. And I think Saturday we could see temperatures up into the 70s if we could manage to break out into some sun.
The big question, of course, is how far to the south and to the east will that front go and take all of its moisture? And yeah, I agree with you, Joe. I think we'll probably break out into some sunshine. Now, interestingly, last Saturday, I was thinking that if we broke out into some sunshine, it wouldn't be until about 11 o'clock or noontime. And as it turned out, it was bright and sunny and almost cloudless by 9 o'clock in the morning up where I was.
Same by me.
So hopefully it'll work out that way this coming Saturday, and that our concerns about leftover showers and clouds will be quickly moving on out of here in time to push those temperatures up into the 70s Saturday afternoon.
So here's the next storm, and of course you can see the GFS is pretty bullish here with heavy rain and severe weather. The weather WPC is forecasting 5 inches or more of rain in this area from this system down in the lower Mississippi Valley. Now that low starts running out. Looks like it's coming out a little bit faster. The tricky part to me about Sunday is there's a warm front that's going to be setting up near or just to our south. Mm-hmm. And I think that'll determine whether we just sit in clouds most of the day on Sunday, or is there a little bit of light rain. And I think the main rain is Sunday night into Monday morning, or at least into midday Monday, as this front goes by. And this might be a inch or so, or inch and a half rain producer for somebody. And then after that, it goes by and out. So this next system tracks much further to the east than the plains system that's out there tonight. So this one will have bigger impact here for later Sunday and Monday.
Right.
That works for you?
It works for me.
Okay. So now let's be
You could be doing a solo.
Let me really quick just let's look at the upper pattern. It's this year has been the year for snowstorms in the plains. With these deep lows.
Right.
It's been like this since the latter part of January, and it doesn't seem to be stopping. This first system, everything is coming out from the Pacific, and just watching this from a couple of days ago, it does the big dive into the Rockies, and it gets really wrapped up. Big ridge pops up in the east. That goes out, and there's a second system. Then drops down into New Mexico and Texas. This is the one for us for Sunday. This lifts up and actually holds together fairly well in the upper atmosphere. But, Joe, look, there's another one. Here comes the next one right behind that for the latter part of next week. And one of the things I noticed, which is not something you see too often, but here's the GFS In fact, I'll just so that we use the same map, so everybody can see. So here's the GFS for this is for a week from today,
right?
With a 993 low there in central Arkansas. The European is actually almost the same.
Right.
It's very, very close. It's got an 88 low right there on the southern Illinois, Kentucky, Missouri border. This very, very active, busy pattern here, and that's why I'm thinking that now we're going to see, after this brief break, we're going to be hearing a lot about the severe weather over various parts of the country, with one Pacific system after another going by. I've stunned you to silence tonight.
I'm sorry. I'm just watching and listening.
Okay. Well, do you agree? Disagree?
Yeah, I agree. No, I agree.
Take a flyer. I don't know.
It is. Everything is moving along is propagating, if you will, at a fairly rapid clip. It's a very progressive weather pattern, and unusual in the in the dynamics that we're seeing here. It's not a zonal flow. We are seeing these upper level troughs diving down and then pivoting out on a regular basis. So it looks like it'll be every few days we're going to have some activity to deal with.
You'd think we were looking at a map in January. These are all the watches and warnings that are up tonight. Look at that. Amazing. Orange is all blizzard warnings. It's 1, 2, incredible. 3, 4, 5, 6 states have blizzard warnings working right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 states have winter storm warnings working, and there's a severe thunderstorm watch up in northeastern Kansas and southeastern Nebraska.
And what is that? Those pink, that salmon color through Oklahoma and Texas. What is that specifically?
These are red flag warnings.
Okay.
Because they had temperatures in the 90s with dew points in the 20s. And wind gusts to 40 to 50 miles an hour.
That's a red flag warning.
Yeah, and the brownish area, those are wind advisories. So everywhere from the Ohio Valley all the way back to the Rockies getting impact from this very big storm.
So you see, we could be thankful. There's that line in that Jackie Vernon, when he did the voice of Frosty the Snowman back in the late 60s, he's telling Karen, the little girl, I hate red thermometers. I hate when the thermometer turns that color or whatever. And for us, if you look on the National Weather Service, local National Weather Service website, and you see the counties are of varying colors of red and brown and whatever like that, you don't like to see that, because that means that there's going to be some problems coming up. So I like when the map is white or nondescript, not showing anything, because it means that we have basically a quiet weather pattern, at least for another day or so here in our neck of the woods. Thomas
Katz says he hears, where did you hear this gossip, Thomas? But he hears through the rumor mill that it's going to go to exactly 76 in the Hudson Valley on Saturday.
Well, I went 72, but that's an average. I could see 70 to 75. So if it makes it to 76, we're only going to blow it by 1 degree. But I could see that happening, especially if we break out into more sunshine than what we're thinking right now. Always like to play it conservative. You don't want to promise the general public something that they really would like to see, and then when it doesn't happen, they get all upset at you.
Quis Esguera, who is, I have a special place in my heart for Chris. Not only is he a top fan, but he is such a snow lover that he's perennially disappointed with every year. Perennial is every other year. He's annually disappointed with the winters that we get here in the Northeast. But yawn, he says, we can't even get this in the heart of winter. Well, in the plains they did. This was their winter. But
hey, Chris, move to Minneapolis. You'll be happy.
Because then the minute you do, the trough will be in the east.
Exactly.
And I mean that kidding around. This is probably a good time to let me just repeat what I said at the beginning in case you missed it. If you're not getting notifications that the Joe and Joe Weather Show is on, and you would like to, make sure that on my Facebook page that you have following checked and notifications checked, but the following checked is really important. You could have notifications checked, but if you don't have the following checked, you might get them, you might not. But if you got both those things checked and you got the like button hit as well, you will get notified, so you won't miss it. Okay, because a few people have been mentioning that they're not getting their notifications, so double check. Weather Wolves. So Joe, I was looking at the models for the past day and two, and including today, and I've seen some severe weather. Is there good potential for me to get damaging winds in Arlington Heights, Illinois? You're in that risk tomorrow. Exactly. You're in that marginal to slight risk. Yes. I think so, with where the low is going and how this is all behaving. The whole upper trough is going to swing up your way. So I think there is a possibility that you could see some strong thunderstorms move through your zone Thursday night. It looked like, in terms of the timing, they may be overnight Thursday night into early Friday morning, going through Illinois and Indiana.
I guess I need to get back to cutting the
orchards in South Georgia before the rains come in. Good to see this forecast now. Well, yeah. Well, they got that severe weather threat later in the during the weekend, moving into the southeast into Georgia. I assume you mean the peach orchards, Bill. Yeah. Some of that weather is going to be headed your way. Bill, William Hoover, the Masters starts tomorrow. What does the weather look like in Georgia?
The Masters.
I don't think you have any problems tomorrow in the southeast. Let me just double check. But
well, let's see. The Georgia is going to have that severe weather threat on Palm Sunday. Right, and that's for the finals. That'll be the final day of the Masters.
So, no issues tomorrow. A little bit of rain late Thursday night, early Friday morning. But then you got your severe weather risk coming in there on, it looks like for Sunday, yeah. Right. This is for Sunday.
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't look good for Sunday.
Yeah.
In the Masters.
And that, of course, will be the final round. So if there are several golfers that are very close together and have the potential of getting into a playoff situation, you'll have that hanging over their heads like the sword of Damocles, if you will. So that'll make, and you know what? That'll make it interesting to see whether or not they're going to have that severe threat during the probably the most important golf tournament of the season or of the year.
Ed Kronk, watching from the Delaware Water Gap in Pennsylvania. Nice to see you on board here. Oh, the pecan orchards. I have to tell you, let me just say real quick, because then we're going to wrap it up. I was down in Georgia late October, early November, when we drove down through Georgia. They had those. I told you they had those Aunt Sally's signs, basically, which was 50 miles to, and I forgot the name of the pecan farm, and there was a sign like every 5 miles, 45 miles, 40 miles, and then we finally got there. It was just 500 yards, 300 yards, just around the bend. But I have to tell you, though, they were the fresh pecans were extraordinary. They tasted so good. They actually had flavor to them, which is totally different from when you buy them up here in the produce section.
Well, they're processed.
They're pretty flat. They're just pretty flat. That whatever they do to them. But the fresh picked ones were unbelievable. They were so good. How much snow in Eagan, Minnesota? I don't know exactly where Eagan, Minnesota is. Jessica Zerbis. Let me just Google it really fast here. What was it? She said Eagan.
Eagan, Minnesota.
Eagan. Let me see where it is on the map. On Google Maps. Hang on. So near Bloomington.
Okay, so that's in the Minneapolis.
Okay, so it's south of Minneapolis.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll bring up the snow map if this thing doesn't freeze on me. Oh, God. The world I live in.
Technology, Joe. Technology.
Or lack of.
I mean, if it was the 1970s, you'd be in front of a huge camera, black and white probably, and you'd be holding up cue cards or index cards or whatever.
Oh. I moved us instead. This is not being very nice to me. All right. I just updated this program, so there's some new ways of doing things. I haven't quite mastered it yet. All right, so there's the map. Let's get really close, because Minneapolis is getting 10. So
5 to 10 inches.
There you go.
It's a nice little wide spread.
So there's your map. That 10 up there that you see, that actually is for Minneapolis, and Eagan is south of Minneapolis. Yeah, 5 to 10. I think that works.
Yeah.
Mr. Rayo, yeah, I'm agreeing with you.
Thank you.
Let's write the date and time down. All right, so look.
Or the Paul Winchell, when he had Knucklehead Smith or whatever say, I have an idea, and Jerry Mahoney would say, oh, novelty night.
Oh, where did I go? Oh, there you go.
There
All right, so look, let's say goodnight here. We're coming up close to the top of the hour. I'll be on Fios 1 News Long Island and Fios 1 News New Jersey.
And I'll be on Fios 1 News Lower Hudson Valley, and come first thing in the morning, you will be treated to the sight of Brian Fitzgerald, our chief meteorologist.
Quite a sight he is.
Yes.
And also in the afternoon, we have Brittany Borer and Addison Green that will be controlling things. And then you and I will be back tomorrow night to correct all their mistakes.
Fresh as a daisy.
Or something.
So to speak. Yes.
All right. Just trying to think if there's anything else we have to say. No. Okay, so one last reminder. If you joined late, make sure your notifications are turned on. Make sure following is checked. Make sure like is checked on my weather page so you are told that Joe and I are on with the Joe and Joe Weather Show, which we try to do every night at 9:25.
We try.
Have a good night.